Hello, and welcome to the second training module for GPTS Office 2011 Standalone Edition software. My name is John Grace. I'll be the host for this training session. I'm the president and owner of GPTS Software Solutions, and we welcome you to this training session. Those of you who are new to our software products, we welcome you, and those of you who are returning for additional training, we welcome you as well, and those who are contemplating purchasing one of our products, in this case GPTS Office 2011 Standalone version, we certainly appreciate your taking the time to view one of our training modules. And the link at the bottom here will give you more information regarding our product, GPTS 2011 Standalone, Office 2011 Standalone Edition. That's www.gptscorp.com/prod01.htm. So once again, thank you for viewing and listening to this training module, and we hope it's beneficial for you. What are we going to talk about in this training module? Well, we're going to talk about expense worksheets. With any business, of course, you have expenses that you have to take care of course, to run your business. So within our software, we have a way that you can do that systemically, and we have what's called expense worksheets that will show you how to set up and define. You can have as many expense worksheets as you wish. Maybe you have one per employee. Maybe you have a general expense worksheet ledger for general expenses such as gas, light, maybe heating, water, office supplies, things of that nature, or as many expenses that you have, and then you can categorize them in worksheets. Expense categories. There again, I mentioned gas, water, light. You can set up to 10 different expense worksheet categories that you can then use throughout different worksheets. And within those categories, of course, you can self-define them, and then you can use them to categorize your expenses. So you don't have to, but you can tie a worksheet to expense categories, and it makes it very easy to manage your funds and work with expenses. Expense worksheet accounts. There again, you can have one-to-many worksheet accounts that you deal with, by which you perhaps start off with the beginning balance, and then of course you do debits and credits to these worksheet accounts. So a unique lesson today, a very interesting lesson, one part of the program that gets you going in setting up expense worksheets to be used throughout the use of the application. So to get started, let's go ahead and do a live demo to show you how to interface with the expense worksheet category and expense worksheet accounts. We already have the software up and running, and the way that you access the expense worksheet modules, you simply go to the budget menu item, click on budget. You have fund accounts, fund account details, which we'll talk about in another training module. And so here we have it. We have expense worksheet categories, expense worksheets, and expense worksheet accounts that we are going to talk about today. Let's go ahead and look at expense worksheets. This is the interface that takes you to the expense worksheet interface, and as you can see, there's a default calendar by which you can use to navigate through the days of the week that you apply expenses to. There's a define worksheet button. Now this button actually allows you to define the worksheet accounts, and then based on worksheet, and then based on the worksheet, it will show up in a grid here, and you can select one worksheet at a time to work on, and you'll see a grid that will populate the screen. And the software comes with 10 default categories, so the worksheet will be populated with those category items. After you define the worksheet, you can then view it. As you make changes to the worksheet, you can update the worksheet to reflect that in your system, and then you can close the worksheet, of course. When you view it, it takes you to a nice report where you can print that report out. You can email it, and maybe print out a copy for your office records. So let's go ahead and define the worksheet. We'll click on the Define Worksheet button. And first thing you can do is give a worksheet ID. A worksheet ID can be up to 12 characters. It could be a combination of characters and numbers, so alphanumeric. And just for demonstration purposes, we'll call this one Work 1. Okay, we'll call this, let's just say, weekly expenses. And there again, you can define it for whatever quarter of your fiscal year that this expense worksheet is bound to. So let's say third quarter, fiscal year 2011. Fund accounts, which we'll talk about in our next session. But fund accounts basically mirror your checking and savings accounts by which you do transactions to. So you can either choose to tie this to one or not. We'll go ahead and tie this to one, a default one that's there. And there again, the initialization date is already here. Now if you come back and modify the worksheet, maybe change the name, keep the same ID but change the name, then you can keep you can then input a modification date to keep a running log of changes. So we'll go ahead and create that. And here we have Work 1 expense worksheet account that's defined. When you return to the module, here you'll see that worksheet is populated in the worksheet grids, the worksheet ID grid rather, excuse me. And as you saw, if you click on the worksheet there, worksheet ID, then you have a grid that does pop up with the worksheet name populated with since we chose for the month of April for the month of October, excuse me, we see the days listed as row entries. So for each day there's a line item, a line for each day, and then of course here are default categories of expense categories: phone, paper, computer, water, sewage, meal allowance, car mileage, entertainment, postage, and office space. And I'll show you how to change those categories in just a moment. Now, to apply an expense to an expense category here, so let's say we get our phone bill in on the 6th of October. So we double click on that entry, and an interface does pop up. It tells us please enter the expense value for date 10/6/2011 for the expense category of phone. So let's say our landline bill is $26. Okay, so as you can see, that grid entry, that column and row entry is entered, $26. Let's say on the 8th we have a paper bill. We bought 3 reams of paper at $15, $5 each, excuse me. So we're going to add $15 there. We got a water bill on the 10th, and let's just say that's $100. Okay, so we're going to update that worksheet, and notice that you get the total listed here of the expenses that's populated to that worksheet. Now, the fund account that we had tied this worksheet to is now presented. At this point, we can, if you want to post these expenses to this fund account, so we'll go ahead and choose yes. and choose OK. So $141 was debited to the fund account that we had defined based on the balance of that fund account. So this immediately you can mimic your checking accounts and savings accounts, and then you can do debits and credits directed to those, and then match those up with your bank statements that you get from your bank. So if we there again, let's go back and make a change here. Let's say we change this. Actually, it's $12. And we go and update that worksheet. Would you like to post it? So this actually makes the actual the changes there, and debits $138 from that fund account. So there again, we can close the worksheet, and if you wanted to define the second one, let's just call this work 2. And let's say this is weekly expenses, just for example, weekly expenses 1, and this is tied to this checking account as well. Come back, and there again. So if we view this worksheet, we'll see that there's no expenses associated with it. Here's the report interface, excuse me, for worksheet. So you can see it's a nice detailed worksheet with categories, category IDs, the actual category name, total, and then on the left side you have the actual date, and then you have descriptions, a description of the expense worksheet. This is weekly expense 1, goes to checking account 1, is for October 2011. Total expenses is $0 for this expense account. Now let's go ahead and click on worksheet 1, work 1, and view that. And there we have it. We have a graph that shows the expense category. So for phone, which expense category 1, on October 6th, we posted $26 to this checking 1 account. Paper, we had a paper expense for $12 on the 8th, which just shows up here. And then for category 4 of water, we posted an expense of $100 on October the 10th. So there again, you can zoom in or zoom out. So let's zoom out a little bit there, and there you have a nice view of the expense worksheet. And then as always, you can print the worksheet out to your printer, default printer, or printer that you do select that's configured. You can export it in CSV form or text form. Then you can email that to someone, manager or business partner that needs to evaluate those expenses. You can put it to a disk file, or you can merge it to your mail client. And if we do that, the mail client should pop up. Any email client that you've got configured, and here's mine here. And there again, you should be able to then send that document to a party that's going to receive it. So we'll close that out. So that's expense worksheets. Now let's go and look at the expense worksheet category. There again, this interface will allow you to change the actual description of the default categories. So we'll call this water, just for sample, just for demonstration purposes. So this category ID has been updated, and if we go back to our expense worksheets, there we have it. For that category now, the header is water 1. So we can do that dynamically, and then the change is immediate. We looked at expense worksheet accounts. We defined them from the expense worksheet interface, but we can actually define them directly. So we just completed our demo. In review, we went over expense worksheets, what they're used for. They're used to capture expenses that you can define weekly, monthly, or as however many expense worksheets you need to define, maybe one per employee, etc. You can do that, and then you can define categories that will be tied to these worksheets, and then you can then define expense worksheet accounts, and then you can then post transactions to these individual worksheets. And if you have fund accounts set up, the software will detect that and ask you if you want to post those transactions to a fund account that you have defined for that worksheet. So we appreciate you attending today, and I hope you benefited from this Module 2 training session of GPTS Office 2011 standalone version. And there again, our contact information listed here. You can contact us via this address. As always, email us at info@gptscorp.com and visit our website at www.gptscorp.com, where you'll find other services and products that we do offer. And we wish that feel free to provide feedback on this training session on the website. And there again, for those of you who are interested in purchasing GPTS Office 2011 standalone version, simply go to this page here, www.gptscorp.com/prod01.htm. There you'll find product information, examples, screenshots, and then there is a button to purchase a product, at which you'll be able to download the product immediately after purchase. So once again, thank you for attending, and we will look forward to serving you in the next training module. Have a good day.